Okay, finally I have my back and bi day. I've had this edited since like last week, but it felt like recording a school project, so you know, I'm here now, it's okay. So I'm gonna start with some lat pull downs. I'm gonna be doing 1 warm-up set and then 3 working sets. Then I went into some close grip rows. Everything after this is just gonna be 3 working sets till failure. I got some bicep curls and then some hammer curls right after this. I got to visit the Iconics gym in Long Beach. Quite lovely. I need to get paid way more so that I can go there all the time because I don't know, it's just beautiful and so many amenities. But alas, I am a broke college student, so that will have to wait. And our last 2 exercises are going to be these pullovers. I ended up doing a drop set because it was just a really good burn. I don't know, it was feeling great. And then I just finished with some base pulls, of course. That was about it, mate. Here is everything I do when I'm hitting these shoulders. Alright, so I do start off with some lateral raises. They are my favorite, as you can obviously tell by me almost wanting to die and pass out. And you know, singing to regain consciousness. I am trying to keep the weight pretty controlled, but once I start reaching failure, I am just trying to rep it out. Same thing with my drop set, which I do after each working set. After doing 3 sets of those, I am moving into face pulls. I have the cables set up a little bit above my head, and then I'm pulling towards my forehead. To focus on the rear delt, I am just thinking about bringing my elbows back and keeping them up. Since I'm usually hitting chest, shoulders, and tris together, these exercises are spread out throughout my entire routine, which I will be posting soon. I don't normally do an overhead press variation, but again, I was just running around this gym having a little bit of fun. I do prefer seated so I can load up the weight a little more though. I wrote it out if you guys want a screenshot, and that is it. Thank you.